Wow, what a week it was. We had a blizzard that affected the South and brought historic snow to millions, the likes of which we might not see for years to come. Now, the weather's been calm lately, but we've got a new storm brewing on the horizon and a big time pattern shift and a massive warm up on the way, along with some good news for California and the wildfires. All that and more in your forecast starting now. This map looks completely different than it did a couple of days ago. These are all the weather warnings that we currently have in the United States. What was a smattering of colors is now replaced by not much. Got a couple of wind-related warnings up here in upstate New York, with some winter warnings up here in the Midwest. And look at that, we've got more air stagnation warnings out here in Oregon and Washington. Then some really good news for California. See all these warnings out here in California? Those warnings in pink, those aren't red flag warnings. Those are winter storm warnings. And then in the green here, those are flood advisories. Now there's also some freeze watches and warnings here in Florida, where it was so cold that the foam from the ocean froze as the tides receded during low tide. I don't think I've ever seen that. That is unbelievable. Outside of that, we don't have a lot going on in the weather right now. Things are pretty quiet. But in the next week, we are going to have a huge pattern shift, which will dramatically change the weather. All right, so let's check out this pattern shift. When is it going to change? Because I'm freezing here in Ohio. I'm done with the cold. This is our current upper level pattern, and this is that same ridge of high pressure that we've talked about in past videos that has been stuck out west. And that has kept us in a very cold and very active storm pattern as polar air from Alaska and really the Arctic was forced into the United States by that ridge of high pressure. And you also had a very active storm track with lows forming down in Texas and then swinging up through the Ohio Valley or swinging along the coast and dropping significant snow to the south. But watch what happens to that ridge of high pressure as we go through the next couple of days. I think we're gonna have another cold shot here as the polar vortex, and yes, I said that right, the polar bear vortex, which is this feature right here, dives into the northeast. So for the next couple of days, we could have some very cold air that makes its way into that part of the country. And the other thing to notice here is see this cutoff low here in California? That will help bring rain and snow to California early in the week, and that could be our catalyst for that new storm that we're talking about in this video. Now watch as we go later next week, that cutoff low sits over here over western New Mexico and southern Arizona for a couple of days. Now when you have something like this, you'll normally have some sort of low pressure that forms here, moves up through Texas, and the fact that it sits in the same spot could mean if we do get snow on the north side, which I think we will, I could have a couple of days to accumulate. But now watch, as we get late into next week, notice how that ridge of high pressure that was out west is now sitting over the eastern half of the country. And then our cutoff low that was hanging out in the southwest starts to dig and slide towards the Midwest. And that'll be that storm trying to make its way up towards the Great Lakes. And check out how that ridge hangs around in the first week of February. And that is a massive pattern shift from where we have been really the last 2 to 3 weeks. We've been in polar vortex purgatory. And now, at least for us in the east, we'll be in kind of warm. What's like something that rhymes with kind of warm? Blinda swarm? Ida Lorm? Kinda Borm? What rhymes with warm? Warm storm. Oh, kind of storm? No, that's stupid. Corm? That's not a word. Norm? Oh, kind of norm? Okay, we'll be in kind of, sort of norm? That's stupid. Rachak, there's nothing that rhymes with warm that actually applies here. Just, we'll be kind of warm. That's all you need to know. All right. This is snowfall through February 9th, and I think it illustrates the pattern in a great way. You'll have lows that form down here in Mexico and slice through the heart of the country, taking tracks like this and then like this. So that's a big shift from where we were getting our snow previously. It looks like the central part of the country. It's your turn now. And folks in the Tennessee, Ohio valleys, and the South, the upcoming pattern in the short to medium term doesn't favor snow for you guys in the East. Everyone stop what you're doing. I want you to take your mouse and mash the subscribe button and mash the like button. It's really cool. The animation is awesome. Look, whoa, whoa, oh, every time I do it, it's like a surprise. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. So let's talk turkey here about our new storm. Also, I hate turkey. Turkey stinks. Could pay me to eat it. All right, there goes my turkey rant. Now let's get into the details of what this new storm is, where it will hit, and where it could drop significant amounts of snow. This is the GFS model that we're looking at, and really this weekend and the beginning part of next week should be fairly quiet. We may have some rain showers that move here through the south, and we'll have a storm that'll drop snow mostly in Canada. But look at California. We do have some very beneficial rain that will fall. You could get an inch or maybe 2 in some spots, which will help dramatically improve those fire conditions out there. So great news for those in California. I'm praying for you guys constantly. This storm cat has your back. So going into the middle part of this week, that is really where our storm starts to form. I'm going to pause it here on Wednesday. Notice we've got a weak low pressure that's forming down here. We've got rain in Texas and snow in New Mexico, possibly in Clovis. Now watch as we go into Thursday, that low sits over the same spots and gets stronger with heavier snow now falling during the day on Thursday, once again in New Mexico. Then as we go into Thursday night, heavy snow still is falling as our low gets even stronger down here. And this is Friday morning and we still have heavy snow falling in New Mexico, even into Colorado. This is what I was talking about here earlier. This low pressure really takes a while to get going to move on out. So it'll sit over the same spots for possibly 24 to 48 hours, which will allow those snow totals to really accumulate. And then as we go to next weekend, that storm finally starts to lift to the north, where it could drop some snow in Kansas. And then going into Iowa, check it out, our storm really gets going. And then by Saturday and Sunday, it moves into the Great Lakes, where it could bring some snow to the upper Midwest. Now, another interesting signal is this right here. That could be some severe weather, guys, as you have a low pressure out here with a cold front. And that is a classic signal for some Dixie Alley severe weather. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that front. I don't know why I do that. Every time I say my eyes, for some reason, I take my glasses off and go, I don't know why I do it. I really don't. I do it for you all. That's why. By the time we get to Sunday, our storm should be on its way out, but check it out. We've got another storm forming here in the heart of the country. This is what I was saying earlier. This is a second low pressure. It's moving in almost the same track as the low pressure before, with snow on the north side and rain on the south side. We'll have to watch our first storm, and that storm will be late next week. And then going into the early parts of the week after, this is Monday, February 3rd, we've got another storm system that we've got to watch. Going into the middle part of the first week of February, we've got yet another storm that we've got to watch as well. So the pattern that we're in favors a very active track for storms, as these lows once again cut through the heart of the country, which means places like New Mexico, northern Texas, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. This pattern really favors you guys for getting some snow, whereas a lot of areas that have been getting snow so far, like the Ohio Valley, like the Tennessee Valley, like the Deep South, this pattern favors rain and warmer than normal temperatures. And I'm like, we're not getting snow here in Ohio anyway, so please warm up. Freaking New Orleans got a bigger storm than I did. I want to move because I'm done with Ohio. This stuff is so boring. I do like the Buckeyes though. Hey, we just won national champs, baby. So how much snow could our first system drop? Well, check this out. These are snow totals as our first storm dropped snow primarily in southern Colorado and in New Mexico, even into western Oklahoma and northern Texas. Now, because this storm could sit in the same spot for a couple of days, we might be talking about feet of snow rather than inches. And the bullseye here is around 17.5 inches. That's some big time snow for the New Mexico desert. And it looks like Clovis is going to be right on the edge here of getting big time snow or not. Clovis was a meme a couple of years ago, and all the storm chasers in the world just congregated there for like 6 days, including me. It was awesome. Now the Euro shows these snow totals a little bit further to the south, with those greater amounts more in South New Mexico and West Texas. And also a pretty good walloping here in northern Oklahoma and Kansas. And keep in mind, guys, this is like our 150, so we still have a long way to go before we actually will know what the snow totals will be. But both the Euro and the GFS agree there will be a storm, and it could drop significant amounts of snow. Now the Euro also shows this storm being a significant snowmaker here for the upper Midwest, places like Iowa and Minnesota and Kansas and even South Dakota, all getting in on that snow action. Now these are the snow totals from our first winter storm coming possibly at the end of next week. Watch what happens though as we go into the first week of February. Another storm cuts through the heart of the country and drops even more snow over the same areas. Poor New Orleans is not getting anything from this pattern, and neither is Ohio. Thank you. I didn't want snow anyway. I hate the snow. I can't win. Stupid Jordan. Now the ensembles are on board as well. This is the GFS ensemble, and that is an absolutely massive signal. The average is 14.5 inches, which is just crazy. Now checking in on the Climate Prediction Center here, they've got this slight risk outlined for heavy snow the first week of February. Now that is in reference to our second storm that could come February 3rd, 4th, or 5th. All right, so now looking at temperatures, you'll notice, guys, a big time warm up is on the way for the eastern United States. Look at all that red and orange and white. That is all warmer than normal temperatures that are going to be sliding into much of the country that has been downright freezing over the last couple of weeks. At least for the next couple of days, that cold will stick around for a lot of the country. Notice how cold Florida is. But watch as we go into early next week. See all that red work its way down from Canada? That is a big blob of warmer than normal air that it will be absolutely blasting its way into the country. But notice this, we've also got the polar vortex here blasting its way into the northeast. And look at that temperature gradient right there. I mean, this is like the battle of ice and fire from Game of Thrones. Then as we go into the middle part of next week, the polar vortex works its way out. We may have another cold blast to the Midwest and Ohio Valley towards the end of next week, say Thursday into Friday. But check this out. Look at this huge area of absolutely torch temperatures that take over and dominate a lot of the country going into February 1st. That warm air tends to stick, and with the pattern that we'll be in, at least for that first week of February, that'll favor colder than normal temperatures out west with warmer than normal temperatures here in the east. And that pattern should hold through the first week of February and bring a welcome warm up to many that have basically been frozen solid in Siberia. There are signs the second week of February we could return to a very cold pattern, but we're too far out to talk about that yet. All right, guys, the last thing we'll cover here is the conditions in California. I have some very good news. We are going to have some rain move into Southern California. Notice we'll have a little bit of a low here that'll form, which will bring onshore flow. We'll get greater rain chances down here in Southern California from Sunday, and that low will hang out even into Monday. We could have some heavy rain ongoing on Monday. Look how cool this is. Look at that spin. See that spin? That is a low that's forming right off the coast, and with it could bring an inch or 2 inches of rain to a lot of those areas that have been so dry, which has fueled those deadly wildfires. By the time we're all said and done, we'll be talking about 1 to 2, possibly 3 inches of rain in some spots. That is unbelievable news for our friends out in California. I'm praying for you constantly. This storm cat has got your back, and now Mother Nature does. So enjoy that rain so much. All right, guys, that about does it for our forecast video. I wanted to remind all of you that Monday, January 27th at 9 p.m., Phil and I will be giving our first ever State of the Freaks address, where we'll be reflecting on this year and giving some epic speeches. We'll also have Jordan, Edgar, and some other freaks like Dina on, who will be giving commentary along the way. So please come join us. Set your DVRs or whatever you do on YouTube. It'll be Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend, and do something kind for someone today. Find someone, tell them you love them, let them know you care about them. It's the Stormcat 5, and I'll see you on the next one.